Oh wait, hold on.
What are words?
What are words? Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to where we figure out how to word. Today on words,
Word hard.
we word all the time.
Or what is the Kevin quote? Why many words when few do job?
Trying to find the right amount of centering. That's whatever. I'm just gonna be.
It's not close enough until it's right here.
I'm just gonna be cattywampus. That's what I've just determined.
That's an endangered species.
Do you not know that word, Graham?
A what now?
A
That word has not crossed the Canadian border.
It's
It's,
quite a southern word.
It is a
Yes.
very southern word. Cattywampus.
You're,
I don't even think we use it here in Texas as much. It's more of like deep south.
It's
side.
on
it
my half of
sounded
the
like the thing
Mississippi.
that pimp slapped Luke Skywalker at the start of Empire Strikes Back.
that is a wampa, so you are most of the way there.
The desert species is called the cattywampus.
Because it's like a cactus, it's spiky. I'm here for this added lore. Hello, everybody. Anyway, as we digressiate into,
It's Star Wars Expanded Universe is getting real wild.
it's true. I mean, when you get
Hey.
lovely creatures like Bubble Freak,
It's too late to vote now in Central Time Zone, but if you voted today, I'll tell your DM to give you inspiration.
They may or may not listen to her, but hey, it's worth a shot.
It's true. But if you're on the West Coast or in
There's-
Mountain Time,
There's still time.
there's still a chance.
There's still a chance.
Also, if you're in Central and you got in line 12 minutes ago, stay in line. And
Right.
Let us help you pass the time.
Interesting choice to be watching us from the voting line. But you know what? You do
Honored
you.
to be your decision.
yeah.
The only advice I can offer up here in the Great White Maple Waste is vote for Cthulhu, because why vote for the lesser evil?
Ya Shub Nigurath.
Yeah, what he said. I love when people
Cthulhu
speak
asked for 5 more minutes.
Florians. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Midi glorious taco. I like the meat. I like mito
Midi
glorious.
Cliori.
Midichlorious.
Mito glorious.
Oh my god, that could be a Greek name. Midi Chlorias.
Midi glorious. It's located somewhere behind the abdominal wall.
I feel like one of my spells has to be like many chlorides in order to.
I love that. All right,
Her name's
Well.
Midi. Midi Chlorians.
here we are.
He plays the keyboard.
Here
This
we
is the
are.
vibe we're at tonight.
Yeah, that's
MIDI
okay.
files.
MIDI files. Oh yes. All hail,
All rise.
all rise for the Californian national anthem. Oh my goodness!
It's now in my head as meaning that forever.
I know it is. It is. It is going to be that. There you go. That was bothering me a little less. All right, we're ready to do this thing. Announcements. Go. I don't think I have anything.
Oh.
Chris.
Oh,
Oh.
Sunday. I forgot.
Oh, is this Sunday?
What's the name of that game, y'all? I have a fever. I'm not
Teens
really
in
here.
space.
Teens in Space.
Though few of them are going to be human, if any.
None of them are going to be human, but they're all going to be teens.
They're all gonna be teens.
in
That's
space.
beautiful.
Humans go
Uh,
through a metamorphosis of
Part 1 of 2 this Sunday at 7 p.m. on Clickety Clackety.
Oh, I didn't have the thing.
I'm gonna be there.
Trevor will
She's
be there.
gonna be there. He's gonna be there. It's gonna be a good time.
RTA?
Yes, Sonder will be there in spirit. I'm gonna put you a little Easter egg in.
Cool. I'll watch it.
Ah, I did it.
we're in the Saunders star system.
Bajan is becoming a millennia's renowned comic writer.
Ooh.
Everyone will
very
be there.
hard to
Just
say.
go. Exactly, Styles. Everyone will be there. All right. I don't think I have anything more besides that. Do you have anything, layer tease?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's
Cool
in the
beans.
future.
All right. On that note, that's what the word I was going for. We'll get started with tonight's episode of Age of Myth.
We're so good at this.
We are the literal best.
The person that I just played, Naja, her playlist.
Yeah. I bet. Okay. Ha 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 ha. Here we go. Gotta get into the vibe. Crack snuffles.
Wasn't it a pleasant vibe? We ended with a sparkly Phoebe.
Yeah, it was. Past tense. A pleasant vibe. As Phoebe is lit on fire by random combustion. Oh no! It's on fire! Yeah, it's because that's why you were sparkling. We just didn't go to the next 2 seconds where you just goes.
Surprise, everybody! I'm not human. I'm a Twilight vampire.
Wow, that's why Dreamy has the fever. She was just preemptively on fire for her character.
I've got a fever and that only
That's
cures more
dedication.
cowbell.
More Calamshan.
More. Beautiful. All right. It's Phoebe Cullens. Oh no, Styles. All right. As the five of you have been, or not have been, well, I guess, yeah, no, you have been, started your journey south across the Aegean Sea, headed toward realms unknown, looking for answers to the strange and powerful storm that apparently swept across much of this region. You all stopped for your first stop in the lovely Isle of Lesbos, as I just remembered.
Oh, that's right. We're still there.
I love that we like strong-armed you into that. You were like, no,
Abysso,
it's
get off the boat.
Lesbos, and we were like, no.
No, it's Lesbos.
Give us
I was
the
like looking. I was like,
lesbians.
no, it's somewhere else. No, that is literally the island. All right. So currently, I think you were staying in what is it, Erissos? I think on the island of Lesbos. I want to say.
Yep. That is what my
Yes.
notes say.
What's up? We're gonna say.
It's
Oh.
just yeah. In my notes.
Okay. As you had settled in for the evening after Cyprus had gone up to the altar of I almost said Athena. Aphrodite. I'm sure she would not be upset by me mixing those two up.
She's
Fine.
not famous
Both
for
would be
that at all.
pissed.
I'm sure that's fine. Girls don't mind when you call them by another girl's name. That's completely not a death sentence. Oh no. As you had settled in for the evening, Astrid and Laertes having had a nice little chat, kind of realizing that they had maybe a little more in common with certain things than they had realized. You guys did take your long rest, correct?
We did.
Excellent. Excellent.
Now he's gonna kill us.
I should do it mechanically though, because I did cast the spell yesterday.
All right, make sure that it is all refreshed for everybody. And let me know when you do. Good. Good. All right. In that case, we're clear to continue. Themisto,
Yes.
your dreams return. This dream is unlike anything that you have experienced before. You see a brief flash of light, like as if you were sitting in a dark room and, well, for us, like a flashlight was just turned on and like struck your face. Your eyes kind of wince at the light from it. And you see a few consecutive images that are confusing. You see a handful of individuals in silken linen-like clothing, draped across their bodies with gold ornamentation. It seems that light ushers from them, and for a moment you feel like maybe you're staring at some of the divine. The curious part is that you've seen divine now before, and they don't quite appear, at least those that you have seen, don't quite appear in this sort of like lofty, heavenly sort of styles with their white robes and gold bling. This is something or new. And almost in the almost in that style of like Renaissance painters where saints are depicted with the light of like the crowning like halo that kind of sparkles off in radiance. You see these individuals have something similar, but it's almost somewhere between golden spires of light and of flame, for it writhes as if you're seeing it through heat. It just kind of moves back and forth. And then the image shifts, whoosh, and you see what you could only imagine was the priory that you had been to the day before that Hecate had taken you to. But perhaps this was more in its heyday, as the walls gleam and reflect the light that comes from smooth, lit panels along the wall. You see these individuals walking now amongst them, and the aura has changed. They now appear somewhat more ordinary, but they still wear that white robing, the still golden ornamentation, and the writhing that kind of moves across their head. And the more that you try and focus on their faces or anything really above the shoulders, it kind of blurs for you. It's like you have watery eyes or something, and you almost try to like move your fingers across your eyes to try and clear your vision, like you're trying to focus. But you have no hands. There is nothing that can allow you to move whatever is obscuring your vision. And you realize that this vision is maybe memory? An event already passed. Or maybe an event to come. Whatever it is, you can't seem to alter the details. It feels real, though. And just as quickly as that kind of shifts through, your heart starts to beat faster because you remember the last time you had a vision and the strangeness of it. Your mind kind of goes back and starts to wonder whatever did happen to that one individual, those multiple individuals that you had seen before. Who are these new individuals? And what does it mean to you and your companions? And as you try and shake your head to kind of clear and close your eyes to kind of clear your vision again, when you open them, you see the sun breaking across the horizon of a brand new day.
I'll rise, stretch myself out, and my snakes as well, uncurling themselves. And, looking at the sunrise, I think for a moment how that glow from the rising sun and the way it reflects off the water and distorts reminds me so much of this dream as the details start to fade from my memory and I try to hang on to it. I reach for my wax tablet and pull out the little stylus hooked to the side and start trying to scribe the details before it's gone. I sit there, with the basket of religious tools and the cloth, the things that she used in the ceremony yesterday, ignored for the moment, while Themisto focuses on this instead.
Alrighty. And the rest of you, as you start to awaken to a brand new day, I'm just probably going to assume that Astrid, you're one of the first to get up as you get the ship, as you and the crew begin to get ready to set sail with the tides.
No. We'll do that, and then she also wants to fish for food.
Okay. You do, oh my gosh, Eric's, I think is her name, right? Yeah. She did get some of the provisions needed from the city. Doing some trading with the fish that you've already caught to get you some more provisions as well, so that you don't have to, yes, fish, but you don't have to worry about feeding everybody. As that's, I think that's part of her job as quartermaster, to kind of make sure that everyone's like provided for. But you are definitely welcome to try and fish some of the waters here off the bow of the ship if you would like, or go deeper. I mean, I'm assuming that you probably pulled the ship up to the docks here, as much as it's not like big city port or anything, that they do have the boardwalk that kind of goes out into the water. And having pulled the ship up to it, you could either, you can fish wherever you want.
It'll be like an early morning kind of thing. And then as everyone starts waking up, then transition to getting things ready.
Sure. Alrighty.
I would have been sleeping on the deck after the conversation with Astrid and just kind of enjoying sleeping under the stars. But I would have been woken up definitely by all the hustle and bustle starting on the deck first thing in the morning, and I would have made a point to get out of the way and below deck where I will do the least amount of distraction being in the way. And thinking about the discussion about the stars, the spaces between them, and thinking back to fixing the mast, where it wasn't simply just pressing two pieces of shattered tree trunk back together, it was fixing the molecular bond so it just was whole again. And I started contemplating how to manipulate those bonds but not destroy them, how to expand and contract them, like looking at atoms in the same scale as the distance of stars from each other, as I conjure the math for a new spell that I want to try.
All right.
You, the meme of the woman looking confused with the formula passing by her head.
Except he isn't confused.
You, the meme of the galaxy brain.
I was going to say more Zach Galifianakis in the first Hangover movie, but
Would Astrid have been fishing with a net or with like a fishing pole?
Fishing pole.
Okay.
And then if the fish are big enough, then a spear. But it's a dock, so
Yeah.
I will stick to that.
Okay. Easy enough. Cypress, Phoebe, what are you guys doing?
Phoebe is always up by the dawn. But since Astrid's not using a net, I won't say the thing I was going to say.
I mean, it's a net. Why not? Yeah, she's on a dock. I'm sure they have nets.
Probably involved.
There are nets there, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do net instead. That works.
Like, I'm talking about like the kind like you let down over the side and like pull up.
Oh, I'm
Not
thinking
like
the
a-
ones
not
you,
like a
cast
Scooby.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Either
one
of
you cast
those.
out and then you like
Yeah.
again. Yeah, that makes sense. Too. Yeah, we'll have that then. She's
Okay.
in the earlier
just-
morning.
I just love the visual of like Astrid on the dock using I'll say a bow and arrow, a pole, and then all of a sudden it goes boop, and then it's a net.
Yes.
Boop. Like, how'd I get here? Here we go.
Astrid, if you ever need help repairing your net, it's something I've done before.
That'd be good to have you on board then. We are always cutting the nets when trying to go fishing. Stuff
But
below and the lower ports are always getting caught. So I appreciate that.
Corinthos is a big port city. Making and repairing nets was something I did.
It's not the magical kind of repairing, right?
No, it is lots of time tying little knots together. Nothing like what Leonard Tasting can do.
It's an art. Well, that's good to know. I appreciate that.
Okie dokie.
Cypress, after doing his usual exercises, stretches, and visual check on his weaponry and armor, which are still pristine. He cleaned them last night. He spends most of the morning very silently standing close to a lot of the procedures on the ship. Like just watching the crew do stuff. It's probably somewhat unnerving because he's just like standing there.
Literally
Just
staring.
very much staring at what they're doing, but clearly trying to absorb their process without being taught their process.
Sure. Make a intelligence check for me.
Or at least be able to tell why they're doing certain
Yeah.
stuff, if not immediately grasping how. Intelligence check. That's a +0.
Beautiful.
14.
14.
Nice.
That's not bad. So, you get, I would say, more than likely, even though you may not get the exact precise reasons why they are doing what, it's pretty easy to piece together, like, the logical steps that they are involved in getting stuff ready to set sail. Checking and rolling up the mast, or I guess unfurling the mast at this point because they're getting ready to go. Making sure all the bindings on the rope on the sides are done nicely. So getting it all together.
In the inevitable point of anyone just kind of making eye contact with him, he just kind of nods and might wave, but otherwise doesn't do much. Unless he's talked to. But.
Okay. All right, gang. What is your deal? What are you doing today? Or what's
Themisto needs to have fun on the island first before we go anywhere. But if not,
So up to you guys. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, Themisto, this is me being nosy as a player. Are you going to keep those dreams to yourself for now?
Well, she'll have written them down, and then when there's a natural time for everyone to kind of gather, she'll bring it up. But I suppose while everyone is still waking up, that's not the first thing she's going to do, right? She will take a little bit of that incense from her kit, though, and get it going. On her sword, there's like a little bit of it, like a chain with like a little bitty sensor ball, basically. And so she sets that going.
Okay.
You can honor Apollo as you slay.
Yes.
DM, anything different about me this morning? I'm going to keep asking till one day you say yes after all the glowing.
Well, considering the glowing was happening overnight, I would say probably not. But I would say over the last 2 days, your demeanor has changed for the positive. It's just the more at the beginning that maybe you felt a little loss might be the wrong word, but more like so this is all something you wanted to do, but the assurance that this was the right course of action hasn't really started sinking in until now, we'll say. Like the last 2 days, you're like, this is definitely making sense.
Cypress will go find Astrid.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. How did you sleep?
Rather well, which I guess bodes well, considering that we'll be on this boat for a bit. You?
It was good. It was good sleep.
Just to clarify, is the plan for us to leave soon? And that I hope that doesn't mean I'm not impatient. I just have continuously had the wrong idea of the schedule of this trip already.
We needed to stop at some of these smaller towns as we go, because we're not exactly prepared for a trip like this. But as we go on, we should be okay. Eric's is setting provisions now.
Excellent.
Themisto's gonna butt in on this conversation. So she'll walk up and addressing Astrid, and Cypress, a kind of wave good morning. Um, s- your crew seems like very quite the experts. It's fun to watch them do what they do.
Been we've been on the sea for a very long time. We're used to back in the good old days. We're used to fighting against sea monsters and lots of repairs back then, but also lots of gold. And it's slowed down now. We're just kind of I guess we've become used to this easier life. So they work quickly.
So you've slain all the sea monsters, then there's none left to find.
We hope that there are no more left to find, but it is harder to find them now. Yes, perhaps they have gone down deeper into the darker depths of the ocean.
Well, how deep could the oceans go, right?
Probably like can't be more than like 3 lakes down, I imagine. But I wouldn't know.
Laertes is suddenly stricken awake.
Larger ships than
We
mine
can
have
test
sink.
this. So, Capitanios, do you think we are going to have smooth sailing today?
Based on what I've seen today, how's the clouds and the weather this morning, Theo?
Roll a d20 for me.
Ooh. Alright. I got a 20.
Wow.
Oh, that's not a good thing. That
Beautiful.
That isn't always a good thing, right?
Beautiful.
You
Excellent.
get the rarest type of weather possible.
Roll for me another
It's a
d20.
Sharknado.
Oh no. That's another d20. I mean, that's another 20.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
This is
no.
Beautiful.
It's-
Roll
the
me
campaign
one,
Your
ends.
nat 20s on
roll me
whatever
one
this
more
is.
d20.
We're going to
This is when
find
we
the sea
find out Sandra
monsters
has a way
now,
to
I
die.
think.
This is going to be one of those charts of like, if you roll 20, you double the next result. So it's like
a
going to be.
oh no, it's a 10.
It's a 10. Okay.
So it's now 10 to the 4th power.
Oh, beautiful.
Laertes thinks that number's child's play. You need to pump up those numbers. There's rookie numbers.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So,
The Misto kind of just smiles,
So how's-
waiting for an answer. For some reason, it seemed like your mind was really, really working hard there for a second.
You
Cool.
saw her shock of like, oh no.
so
you see Astrid smell the air, and then look out onto the ocean.
Hmm.
And
one of the things that you noticed this morning was, and it hadn't really occurred to you until Themisto was asking. When the sun rose, the color of the horizon was a brilliant red and orange as it burned away the night sky. Now that this point in the morning, it is starting to lighten away into nice little blues.
I don't know if you've ever heard the expression.
But it's something that you like. It just popped into your head, and that it has been cloudy, and there is definitely a strong breeze, a cool breeze coming in from the ocean or from the sea.
a cold breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what's the
Barometric
what
pressure.
season is it right now?
End of summer.
End of summer. Well, if it was a warm breeze, it'd be a hurricane. But then low pressure. I don't know. Oh no,
Yeah, low pressure is hurricanes.
that's not.
At this point, I would say that Laertes does come up from below after doing his morning homework.
Who gets the cold
He's
air
here to sort
first?
this out with science.
No, it gets worse. I see the group kind of talking and trying to work things out. Oh, good, everyone's here. Did you, Astrid, bring up the old lady that we ran into yesterday?
Say again?
Did
The
you bring
old-
up the old lady we ran into yesterday?
No, not yet.
Something of note. Her boat was caught in the fringes of some of the storm. She said she saw, I suppose, clusters of cyclones everywhere. She described it as. Let me go to my notes because that's important. Clusters of cyclones bridging the ocean and the sky.
That is an
was-
unusual storm if I've ever heard of one.
That was during the. Yeah, that was during the storm. If it's a cold breeze. Okay, so I looked it up. But the cold breezes are supposed to be normal. That's okay. That's a normal thing. The sea breeze. If it was a warm breeze, that would be
Aaron's
that
like,
thing.
whatever you say.
Whatever you say.
Have I missed our daily prognostication of doom?
It seems that today will be a good day. It's just cloudy, and there's a nice cold breeze outside, coming from the ocean.
Jim Cantori has a bag
Great
and is
day
getting
to
on the
sail.
boat.
Great day to sail.
Also,
is
if we
is
see
Phoebe standing here too? Currently?
Phoebe, are you with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Themisto's gonna look at Phoebe now and say, Phoebe, you're from Corinthos, do you agree?
I missed the last word that you said.
Do you agree?
Do I agree, DM? Do I need to make a kind of check?
Make a nature check.
Okay.
Corinthos equals Kansas. One! Yeah, sure.
To be clear,
Beautiful.
Themisto isn't like questioning, she's just making small talk.
No.
Yeah.
well, if we see cyclones on the water, we just steer away from that, right?
Right. We'll be sailing on the coast, so not too far out in the ocean. If we do run into something, then we can always find land. Not too far away.
Then we should be fine, right?
Yeah, we should be fine. Fine, just good. Just all right. Nothing to worry about.
There's a lot of tension in this conversation. And I, as the one who knows the least about about this sort of thing, don't feel much comfort by all of your reassurances.
Did you all see the Did you all see the red sun rise this morning?
I did.
Make a nature check, everybody.
Is that also
Everybody.
normal?
No.
15.
14.
A 16.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What was yours, Phoebe?
That was another one.
Beautiful. Oh, see, Astrid just took all of the good fortune for a second. So we're balancing out. It's fine. It's fine.
It's that Corinthian
Yeah.
public school system hard at work.
Yeah, Phoebe, you're
Yeah.
from Corinthos. What does the red sun mean?
So,
What color is red?
Mulder was angry.
I've never heard of red
Pardon me.
before.
You mean gray?
Yeah.
It's when you find out Phoebe's colorblind.
No. Laertes, Astrid, Themisto rolled high enough to know that generally, when it comes to the blood reds of either the setting sun or the morning sun, it's usually ill omen if at night, and not all that great if it's in the morning either. Generally weather related by morning, generally event related if at night.
So it's more of like, okay, it's more like omen stuff rather than.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then it was appropriate that it's an awkward. Did you guys see the red sun?
Yep. So it's
Yes,
kind of like, I would say, Astrid, with your knowledge of the sea,
Mhm.
you, especially with the knowledge of how the Aegean/Mediterranean Sea can work sometimes, how quickly a storm can brew up out of a clear blue sky kind of day. That sort of thing speaks to you that maybe, while yes, the weather seems fine right now, the more of the omen side of things is telling you just to be wary.
Then yeah, we'll stick to the coast as much as we can.
Would that take us away from where we actually have to head?
We're needing to head on the coast anyway, but the ocean breeze a little further out may help our speed, but it shouldn't affect it. Staying along
Mister's
the coast.
going to use the red sun comment as an opportunity to bring up her dream.
Ooh.
So, you mentioned the sunrise. Usually I perform a ceremony to honor Apollo. But today as I awoke, I believe I may have had another vision. It was strange, though. As people who looked like the gods draped in silk and gold, with a glowing heat like the sun behind them. Their faces blurred like if you tried to look at your reflection in the waves. I saw what looked like Minos, Hecate's temple, the place where we were brought. But it was new, glistening. I saw those people again there, and this heat around them had faded a little, but it was still present. It felt so out of place, but so real to me.
What do you think that means?
Mm.
Did you recognize anything besides the place?
No, only the feeling that these beings I saw were gods, but with their faces obscured, I could not place any of them, and I don't think the Mister really focuses was anything on the manner of dress of these people reminiscent to her of the way that she has seen any specific gods depicted.
Astrid's going to put his shoulder on at the Misto and say, "You got this. You can remember. These are important," and that will give her guidance. You can add a D4 to your roll.
So, what would you like to roll for this?
Probably religion, I suppose, being as that's
Sure.
And not a hand on her shoulder, you just shoulder on.
This make me blush a little bit.
You can do it.
You said add a d4 to my roll?
With
Yep.
guidance, yeah.
Okay. 17.
Okay. Two things I will say. Yes, it does remind you of the way a lot of depictions show the gods. And that's why I was saying before that there's a little bit of a clash between those that you have met now and how they don't dress. And how a lot of media at the time kind of depicts the gods as like having these like really comfy looking shawl like drapey clothing, and usually are like whites or kind of always used as a symbol of purity, right? But it also denoted or something in the way that what you saw gave you a sense of royalty. So aside from the divine, it also seemed regal somehow.
Astrid, as a sailor, surely you've heard of the god kings of the winds. The four winds and the floating island where one lives and controls them. Yes, the way that they were dressed in my vision reminded me of that. Someone who is both a god and a king or a queen. But no particular person comes to mind for me.
The idea of like a divine king mean anything to the rest of us?
I would say
Any-
without having to roll, it does bring to mind the prime deities of Olympus. To an extent, though Zeus has never been called a king of the gods, but he's always been kind of just
Like the ruler.
ruler, right? So, yes, to a certain degree, but not in that kind of a term per se.
Did I say that out loud? I wrote it in my notes. I said the word Olympus. It's like,
Oh no.
okay.
Yeah,
it's,
that's what I figured you were referring to.
It is as if I had glimpsed Olympus when the gods were just being among themselves, not having to present themselves to us.
Well, the omen of the red sun and the fact that you had a vision definitely is. It seems to be some kind of guidance from the gods.
I would think this too. Whatever path we are on, it is, I am sure, treacherous, but the right one.
Perhaps that was what it is. Prepare for blood.
As we get closer, I could make a sacrifice and make sure that we are on the correct path.
Yeah, that would be good. To the god of winds and Poseidon.
Prepare for blood. Cypress just kind of
No, that
Takes
sounds
a
a bit
deep breath.
ominous.
takes a deep breath and is just, I don't know what kind of freaking weather we're about to have, but that is not a good warning. And he's going to just kind of leave the group, but not like really go anywhere.
We are Orphics. We can handle this. We have the gods on our side. The ones that, at least the ones that believe in us. Let us prepare to leave.
All right.
Capitanios, your fate hardens me.
We've been brought together for a reason. And we have chosen this mission for a reason. We can face it.
So then, are we ready to sail?
I'm all nodding, and I'm like, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, let's
I
sail.
think we're ready.
All right.
As long
Skip
as
ahead.
no one has recently done anything that would anger any ocean gods.
Sure
Not
is
so far as
fine.
I know.
guess not.
You look on the back of the ship and someone's just dumping trash into the water.
Kill him immediately.
Oh no.
Great, we're in a prequel episode of Captain Planet.
Beautiful.
Captain Cypress.
Oh boy.
This
He's a hero.
All right, so we set sail.
Set sail.
this was
Here
a
we
beautiful
go.
island. I would like to visit again sometime, I think.
When we come back up and around, I think that would be a good idea.
Alrighty. It doesn't take too much longer as everybody gets back on the ship and prepares. You soon find yourself on their way. Getting out of the small harbor, you can hear the rowers below the deck as they bring the ship out from the shallows and into the deeper water around the isle of Lesvos before the sails are released and the oars are brought in and the catching the wind. Captain Astrid, who's the one who normally helms the ship? Is it you?
Well,
Do
normally-
you? Do you normally? Are you normally at the controls, or is it one
Yeah,
of the
it'll
other?
be me or Nico if I'm indisposed.
All right. So, as you take off into the seas, do you have the map available or handy?
Mm,
If not, I will put it in your chat so you guys can
Okay.
pop it up again. Badoo. There you go.
Aaron, can we turn down the waves just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit?
Mhm.
Thank you, sir.
Wait, do I have more than just this one coin? It's just this one. There we go. Is that better? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty. So, as you are currently in Edessos, there in the Isle of Lesvos, on square H19, if you were trying to find it, you are to be heading southward. I'm assuming you will be going along the edges of the coast, trying to stick to where land is visible as much as possible. Since we have done the weather for today, I also need someone to roll, one of the other crew members to roll a d20 for me.
Got my bouncy one.
Do it.
When you said the crew members, I was like waiting for Eric's to roll.
Yeah.
No, I meant one of you five.
Well, we know I don't need a
16.
roll.
16.
It looks like someone took like a rubber band ball and then carved into it to make the D20.
Right, it's like a pixelized version of a rubber
Maybe.
band ball. Like if someone
They
were to
didn't
make a
have enough
rubber band ball on
polygons.
PlayStation 1.
Yep. Oh my gosh, that's wild.
It's very bouncy, and if I drop it, I feel like it just
That's cool.
bangs the heck out of the roof of the people below me because it's fairly hefty.
Yeah, it looks it. Okay. 16.
Would we be going down to Cardamile?
Cardamile. Yeah, you could if you want. I didn't know how close to the land you were wanting to go. So if you want to go, like
Maybe
go
across. Oh,
no, you
ahead.
tell me.
I was thinking
I
if we're
guess-
going to be staying on the coast, that we'd go to like around to Kaimi and then down through Gardameile
Mm-hmm.
and through that like channel that's there,
Mm-hmm.
just
That's
so
from
that
the
we're
ch-
closer to land.
Beautiful.
I should probably look up the map as well. Is that in our Discord?
It's in the Zoom chat.
I'll put it.
Chat.
It is in Discord as in on our main Discord, but it is probably a little buried at this point in the campaign art. I think is it? It's in campaign art. I think. In any case,
Where are you, Lesbos?
H19. So yeah, so going across the way.
Type in that into Google.
Yeah. Going across the way.
Lesbos near me.
As you're
No
going.
Lesbos in your area.
There's at least one.
Beautiful.
And it's really far.
Sorry, go ahead.
Going across that space of the ocean. What are all of you doing as you guys travel?
At first, Themisto is just going to be enjoying the fact that she's on a boat. She's really only taken the one trip before this out to Ilum. So, looking out at the waves, and watching the crew do their thing, and, and maybe if it's not getting in the way too much, kind of asking, like, so what's that you're doing right now? Like that sort of
Right.
thing. And then as the hours go on, depending on how long it takes, she will settle down, sit somewhere, and with like her legs folded up underneath herself, and bring out again that wood that she had been working on a couple of nights ago in the Temple of Apollo, along with some others that she'd brought out, and she's going to continue to kind of chisel away at it, making sort of a tray shape, and multiples of this.
Okay.
I think
Phoebe's just- oh.
Oop.
Who's gonna go? Who's gonna go?
I think Cypress doesn't really know what to do with himself. He's a little bit more antsy than he normally appears. He's usually able to stand fairly still and seem comfortable, but on this boat, you see him like nervously moving about a bit. He does exercises to try and avoid seasickness, and also just every so often just starts doing push-ups and then like looks around for a while. He seems like he's trying to get comfortable, but he's not. It's not doing too well over the hours. He's not freaking out, but he's not just chilling.
Okay. Okay. So,
Anybody else?
yeah.
Yeah, if she's just not in the absolute way, I think Phoebe's gonna start eyeing some of like the rigging and stuff.
Mhm.
And start trying out some different dexterous things around it. So like in the movie The Mask of Zorro, when he's got the little training area with the different ropes and stuff? Kind of like that.
Cool.
Nice.
Where you're
Her
just
little
like cutting the
parkour course.
mast free and doing a bunch of irreparable damage to the ship.
No, just like the rigging that's there, the ropes that are there, doing dope monk shit.
The sail
Having
slowly
fun for
turned
the
by
first
accident.
time.
Knock somebody off.
Did we
As
used to have
long
an
as she's not
Aarakocra
swimming.
on this ship? Not anymore.
He can't swim.
Oh, his last words were gurgle, gurgle. I don't know what he was trying to say. It must have been his native
Oh
tongue.
no.
Cool. All right. So kind of swinging around back and forth. Love it.
Just
Love
you
it.
can tell she's just having fun for the first time in a while.
Okay.
Themisto will notice this as she's chipping away at this wood block and just smile.
Laertes doing anything in particular? Or
Um,
continuing your studies?
Kind of, but I'm changing what the focus is. Because while I've been on some ships, it was mostly just a very short, in comparison, commute. I expected where I was going, like, showing up in Athens after leaving uh, Ilum. But now I'm actually kind of paying attention more closely to the weather patterns and the intricacies of all the interconnected math and how that matters, and but while trying really hard to stay out of everyone's way while he's studying this. There's moments where he wants to kind of go up and bug Astrid about like this, that, and the other thing, because as a sailor she would have more firsthand knowledge, but it's like she's busy being the captain and he needs to be busy himself. So yeah, he's just trying to pay attention to where they all are while he's trying to basically just add and revise to some of his ideas. He's kind of just enjoying that as kind of an exercise. Part of it is just to keep his mind doing something on an otherwise boring excursion. But he's genuinely enjoying the opportunity to kind of just do this. He's occasionally having to use prestidigitation, I think, to kind of just warm up his clothing.
I love that.
And he secretly enjoys that he can do that. But there's also that constant annoyance of, I have to do that.
You were playing with the seat warmer in the car.
Oh yeah, like he basically like walks around with a heat pad, but no one knows.
I love it.
Laertes' dirty little secret.
Making the most of this trip. It's a pretty steady day with a fair amount of clouds gathering in the horizon. It makes you kind of nervous a little, Astrid. The size and depth of color that they bring to the skies. But it isn't that catches your eyes, as you're probably a couple of dozen miles off from Cardamile. Cardimile. That's what I'm assuming it is.
More on Kappa Cardamom.
Actually, we'll say it's probably while swinging that Phoebe notices something in the water. As you swing on the rope from one side to the other, there in the horizon coming up ahead, you've gotten used to the blues of the ocean. And you can see the land that is coming up in the distance. There is a dark, dark blue circle in the waters that you are going towards.
Astrid, do you
Phoebe,
see that ahead?
You look up at the sky, and where the clouds are, there is no cloud that would give the shadow to the coloration of the water.
I'm gonna yell, Oriotis!
Ah!
Check this out.
You see from the... does your ship have like a crow's nest, or does he just get up to a high point?
Yeah, I'll give him a crow's nest. Seagull's nest. Or,
Seagull's nest pops into existence on the mast of the ship.
well, it wouldn't be like accurate to.
No, not particularly.
Grecian,
But I would
right,
say
yeah.
that he will climb up high to the bow of the ship, and kind of
Okay.
like scan the horizon as best he can. he turns, he kind of looks and then looks and then looks and then
What do you see?
looks and then just kind of like cocking his head back and forth, kind of like almost like do the chicken thing and just kind of back and forth, and then he turns back at you. Blue hole, Captain.
Blue.
A blue hole.
A blue
Yes.
hole?
Yes. So, it's a. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna let you have this one because you would know this as the sea captain. So in this, when you get to shut up, when you get to when you get to the shallows, sometimes there are particularly deep pockets. Particularly deep pockets or almost like a sinkhole that exists in the shallows. So normally the light would like reflect off the sandy bottom of the
Sandy bottom.
goddamn the sandy bottoms of the underneath the water. Whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. But there are these deep pockets sometimes where sinkholes exist, where the depth goes. Yeah, it goes just it clears away, and
Whoa.
most parts it's just like a sinkhole in on dry land where it's just like a cave perhaps that collapsed, or especially in amongst these islands here in the side of the Mediterranean, volcanoes exist and can arise and fall away just as quickly. So it's not necessarily uncommon, but it's not necessarily like they're always mapped out, because sometimes they just appear and then you are heading directly towards one.
How big is it? Big enough for us to like, from where we're at, we can get around it, or is it just something we have to go over?
I mean, I'll say that because, and this was going to be kind of like a surprise thing, but because Phoebe was kind of like swinging in the jungle gym, just kind of noticing the stuff, in general, like that coloration of the water would have been something that someone would have noticed. Because with how cloudy it's been, it's also easy to just dismiss it as the shadow of a cloud, going overhead.
Normally.
We'll say it's probably a couple of 100 yards across. It's not where you can't navigate over and around it. You still have, we'll say you probably have about a minute and a half before you cross over the threshold of it. So you can choose to quickly like veer around it if you want, or you can go over it. It's not like it's necessarily a dangerous thing, but it is a curiosity.
Okay.
Once this has been pointed out, does this strike as like this could be like a caldera or like something specific that I know about or read about?
Make a history check for me.
Sure. Not awful. 13.
13.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you're familiar with them.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, given some of the things that you study, blue holes have a tendency to relate to calderas, shifting of whatever is below the oceans. Some famous blue holes have been remnants of the Old Kingdom.
I was going to ask my next question actually if this could be related to Tritons or Old Kingdom.
Usually Old Kingdom, potentially. Some really great finds have been discovered from sunken bits in the ocean where like land mass had just kind of inverted in on itself and sunken deep in. But sometimes it's just natural phenomenon.
Given how far we've traveled and we knew that Erissos, was that the name of the port? Oh,
Mhm.
Lesbos.
Oh yeah, Erisos.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was at the edge. Does this seem like this is closer to the epicenter, or is that much further?
I'd be further south probably, but you
Okay.
would be within the range that she was talking about. That would be
Mhm.
the edges of.
Hmm.
And having not been following along land, you don't really have anything to gauge how far into this storm you would have
Fair.
gotten.
Okay. I guess I don't really have much to really add there.
Okay. Themisto, what were you gonna say?
Noticing everyone paying attention to this, Themisto's gonna look over that direction too, and then call out with her spin on it. Say, you know, they say in legends that there are places in the sea where the secret rivers of the nymphs join the ocean. They don't go like a regular river from the surface, but they go beneath it, so that Poseidon could visit them.
That's something we should avoid.
You think so, Cypress?
Is it?
Themisto,
That was more of a question. Is that something that we should avoid or just go right over?
As we're approaching, Astrid will say,
You have
full
probably
speed ahead.
30. Okay.
Over.
What did Astrid? Oh,
I was gonna say you probably have about 30 more seconds before you're gonna have to go over it,
Yep.
if you're wanting not. So you watch as some of the crew go over to the edges of the ship, and those of you who are watching, you see as you pass over. The stark difference. Because it wasn't like you could see the ground beneath the water before, but now seeing the lack of it. A lot of you who have spent time on the oceans, most ships of the time stay as close to land as possible. So the shallows are what they are used to, unless you're doing these big voyages across the Mediterranean. So seeing this level of deep, dark blue is very strange because it almost looks like you're crossing into a different realm of water. You can see as the ship passes over that the light shimmery, blue turn into this deep, deep navy blue. And the water where it's like the ship kind of creaks over the waves a little bit. There's almost this eerie calmness to it now, as like this deep water kind of loses the effect of the waves having been so close to the shallows. It's now kind of a little calmer, and so it just feels different.
Are we sure that like Cypress suddenly seems to be almost whispering at this sudden calm? Are we sure that this isn't a desecration of some kind?
I
What
can
we're
make an
doing.
offering if it would make you more comfortable.
It would, but
Themisto, say no more, fam. Themisto's going to take the jar of honey and take a little bit out of the top with just kind of scooping her sword point into it and hang it out over the edge of the ship. And she's going to say, Poseidon, hear me. I offer to you honey from our lands. It's difficult for you to obtain most of the time. But here, we bring it direct to you for safe passage across this rare piece of sea. And then she's going to take a little tiny bit of the bay so as not to insult Poseidon. and take just a few leaves of it and sprinkle it in. And to the nymphs, the spring joins. You enjoy our games in the world of the populated places. This is a token from that.
Thank you, Themisto.
And then after, doing that in the left hand, kind of crinkling them up and letting the honey run off her sword, she will bring them both back in and just do a little nod.
Yeah, were we told? I have written down that Poseidon is one of the only other members of the fold. Were we told that, or is that something I wrote down that we as characters didn't pick up on?
He was not a member of the fold. He is one that specifically did not join the fold. I'm pretty sure. He was mentioned.
Okay, Ares, Apollo, and Poseidon are the only gods who are members of the fold.
Oh,
But maybe I miswrote that down.
I'll have to
I
double
seem to
check.
remember something about that too.
I remember bringing him up, but I felt like it may have just been a miscommunication on my bit.
I remember Poseidon or Zeus being the reason for the storm, or like assumed the reason for the storm, but not
Right.
not that he had joined the fold.
I have that note from session 6 if that helps you look through your notes.
Oh yeah, 6.
Poseidon, perhaps don't answer this call if it turns out he's there for you not to know it here.
Apollo and Poseidon are on our side. The others are neutral for one reason or
Oh, okay.
another.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't find
Okay, this is
my
a good
list,
thing.
so
That's good to hear.
Okay, that being the case, I think under her breath, Phoebe's just going to be like, Poseidon, if you're part of the fold, please just let us pass.
the air gets cool, and windy. And as you guys have spent all this time looking down, when you look back up into the skies, you can see that there is a deep, dark storm cloud that is rolling towards you. And you're about 3 miles offshore at this point, so you're not terribly far, but you can see that it's closing in. You may or may not reach the shore before the storm overtakes you. And it is... part of you is thinking, is this in direct relation to what was just done? But you had already been seeing that these clouds were kind of gathering. So there's you can see that there's a little bit of the crew, having watched the Misto do this, is kind of like, you can see the look of relief. And then as they're looking up and into the horizon, they also see that there's this storm coming, and they're just you can hear a little bit of a murmur going through the crew as they're getting nervous. Astrid, what are you doing?
Is the storm? Is there a chance that we can ride the side of it, take it away, or would it be best to try to make it to land?
That is up to you.
Given that I've been spending
Captain moment.
Ooh.
most of the day studying the weather patterns, is there a way that I can help the captain figure this out? The best route, the best strategy?
I'm going to turn to you for. We have a decision we can make together, and I want to make sure that this is something that we all agree on. What we do. We can try to make it to land. We may not make it in time, or we can try to beat the storm and continue onward. What would you all prefer?
For reference, as you're looking in the direction of the island that is approaching as you're heading southward, I'm assuming you mean, because the storm is coming in from the seas, not from overland, right?
The
so
west.
It looks like, so it's coming in westward, going eastward. It's going to sweep across. You can either try and find shelter as quick as possible there on the island directly ahead of you, or try and reach that channel between the island and the mainland. Mind you, that space is still. Let me see. Look at this. You're talking about a good 20 miles between the island and the mainland.
Okay.
So you will still be out. It's not like it's going to shelter you. Like the channel looks like a channel, but it's still a relatively large amount of space that goes between.
Yeah, like New England.
Sure.
Or Great Britain. So then, okay, so where we're at right now, if we were to go directly east, would that put us towards Eritrea or Lokaya? Or like Kaimi?
No, you're still heading towards Cardamile. So you're still like a couple of miles from that side of the coast. You would still have to try and like skirt the coast, what would be southeast, to try and get to the city before the rains hit. But there's a chance that doing so, you're going to lose some of the speed from being in over the open water. You're just going to slow down a little bit, and the storm will overtake you before then. You probably have like an hour or 30 minutes to an hour before the storm hits.
Then I'll relay that to everyone.
If you wish, I can consult the gods. But it will take a lot out of me, I think.
You gave a blessing to Poseidon just now, and the storm appeared. I think this is a sign that we keep going. That's just my own interpretation.
Okay. I will trust your judgment, Capitanios. I can do more, but I do not have to.
Okay.
If we are taking a vote, as much as I am very uncomfortable in this situation, don't feel that my capabilities are that useful against. I would vote that we keep going.
Okay. We've battered worse storms than this. And we could use your strength, Cypress, if the weather gets worse.
Well, you have it. Certainly, as long as we've a ship. And maybe even a little bit after.
Verities, Phoebe?
I trust you.
To reinforce this trust, as I'm kind of walking up to her, the jewel's kind of spinning between his hands, sort of just free floating, and sending off a few sigils or equations or something. It's not quite legible. And he just reaches out as he's sort of just like pushing through like various strands of strands, like various layers, and then he just sort of taps Astrid on the shoulder. This is just to ensure that should you be caught short, you have something to draw back on. As I cast Fortune's Favor,
Ooh.
which is basically just a point of luck for the next 8 hours. So,
Ooh.
Okay. As he's doing this, I will say as the four of you are also watching him, you see the strands kind of materialize from around him as he casts the spell. in a way that none of the other crew who's standing around seems to take notice. They see him doing doing something, but for the four of you, you see that little like
the physical strands
of like pulling some sort of energy from the air, and it like weaves itself from across. It almost looks like a web, right? That kind of just like becomes a strand. And as he does so, he kind of weaves it with his fingers in this really gentle way.
I would say it's like this layers of a loom, and I'm kind of just sort of twisting my hands through various strands and various layers, and then as I'm getting up to Astrid, it's as if they're being sort of restrung, or maybe allowing them to be restrung at an opportune moment.
Okay. So, as the storm is coming in, how would each of you like to prepare or to help with whatever you're about to do?
Where are the people that can't swim?
At the front of the ship right now, looking at the horizon.
I will position myself nearby them.
You see Oriotes kind of looks over at you, like as he's looking at the horizon, like looks over, looks up, looks over.
Cypress nods and starts to undo his armor that he had put on. This won't help anyone if I go down wearing this. And he's going to start bundling his armor away.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
I'm so tempted to cast the spell right now to get some idea about whether this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Do it.
Well, you decide. If you'll allow me, I want to find like a long thing of rope and tie one end very tightly to the mast and the other end to myself so I can move around, but I'm still anchored to the ship.
You have been dealing a lot with the ropes and the swinging, so definitely 100%.
I would like to get Phoebe's help with that as well, because I have 2 backup plans as a result. And how far away is the mast from where the wheel is that I can't think of the name for?
The controls are at we'll say the helm, and the controls at the back of the ship. Let's see here. Hold on.
I don't know
how long it is, because I know the
ginormous.
mass is, I know the mass is in the center.
Yeah, do we know how long the ship is?
400 cubits.
Yes. Does this qualify? Does this qualify as a long ship? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We'll say it's a long ship.
How long is a long ship?
No, it's bigger than a long ship. Or is it only a long ship?
Let me find the thing. Hold on.
Long ship says 70 feet by 20 feet across.
70 feet sounds...
Yeah, because that sounds about right, because it says this is a 40 crew and 100 passengers, technically, or whatever. But 40 crew would be about the size of what you have. 70 feet by 20 feet across does sound correct.
Perfect. I have 50 feet of rope in my pack. And so I can make it to either side with ease.
Just that way it gives us a size to use the dimensions. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I don't want to be able to go 50 feet in either direction, because that feels like I'm going to have a bad time when this goes topsy-turvy. I just want like a good 10 feet on either side, so I can at least see, I think, 30 feet to the helm where Astrid's going to be. I think that's all I really need. But I want to, stay close to the mast, because I have ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 feet. That's all I need.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Themisto, did you decide?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cast it. It's too good of a time to do it. So, Themisto, there's not really anywhere private on the ship. So hopefully this isn't too shocking to anybody. But taking her short sword with its very pointy triangle shape, she's gonna hold it out, um, delicately, a little more firmly on the handle than she normally would during this, because the ship is moving around, and point it like at her own chest, essentially. And then, um, with her eyes up to the sky, she's going to say, Apolopithaios, you know more than most about irrevocable choices. Tell me now, are we on the right path? And so she's gonna cast Augury, and then that little chain that's hanging down with the sensor ball on the end of her pommel, she's hoping for it to either sway towards her to indicate like back and forth to indicate that, oh, this is a bad choice, you're about to like plunge this into yourself essentially, or sway horizontally, saying, stay the blade, that you're on the correct course of action. So back and forth, bad. Side to side, good.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. What?
This is referencing a conversation that she and Diodoros had privately
Hey,
a long time ago.
in a galaxy.
And he
far,
stabbed her
far.
at the end of it.
Let me see here.
I'm gonna miss the Misto.
Beautiful. All right. Cool. 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 I was just trying to see what this said, spell wise.
She's on her knees
If it was
during
something-
the casting of this spell too. It's very dramatic looking.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna walk up to you and like supervise just in case.
You can feel the ship start to creak back and forth, and for a minute, Themisto, you see the sensor start to move back and forth, matching the
Now-
rocking of the ship.
Because I'm
And-
casting Augury, you can also choose as the DM to have no answer or a mixed messages.
So,
Which would be annoying. but you can.
so it starts to tilt back and forth towards you, and it seems to like weigh heavily towards going towards you. And you can feel your skin start to pringle with goosebumps. And there's a moment where it looks like that's all it's going to do is just it starts rocking back and forth, and then it like shifts slightly and goes over to start to make a horizontal like loop. It almost makes like a figure 8 as it kind of goes back and forth, but it seems to slow as it comes towards you. And in one of these moments where it slows, Phoebe, you feel your skin tingle as well, the hair raising on the back of your neck as you're watching this happen, the blade dancing dangerously close to Themisto before a loud crack of thunder and lightning. Thunder goes across the sky, lightning flashes, and it like startles everybody, and for a moment you think that Themisto tightens, as it almost seems like she was about to grab onto the blade and plunge it towards her, but she stops, and the sensor just starts moving back and forth, side to side. But it startles everyone as it just kind of like strikes, but maybe a couple 100 yards off to the side of the ship.
I'm going to say that I've even hurt my hand a little bit on the blade.
Okay.
I'll put it
You
away
alright?
and stand up. This is Senil Omen if I've ever seen one. We have to tell Astrid we need to change course. So I'm gonna start running towards the captaincy area of the ship. I don't know exactly what to call it, the helm.
Yeah.
Expecting that Phoebe was gonna come with. But anyway, I'll run up there and say, Capitanios, we have to change. I've just received a sign. If
You're
there is
muted.
time left yet.
Yes, we can do that. She'll yell out to the crew. I need all rowers down below. We're going to change course.
Cypress disappears down into the deck.
The
Good idea, Cypress.
And you see that he's like taken off all of his armor, but bundled it super neatly. And he's wearing just his tunic and basically the base level clothing.
when the lightning struck the sea not too far off the side of the ship, Auriotis left a small present on the deck.
Oh,
Just throwing that out there that kind of startled the poor bird.
All Cypress has on him is the hempen rope and his sword.
Okay. Cool. All right. Laertes, what were we gonna say?
Would Cypress have passed by at Laertes on the way? Yeah, I would say so.
I think so.
I kind of just am giving Cypress a little like pat on the shoulder, a little nod, as his density increases, and he now has advantage on strength checks and saves. And as someone who's about to be rowing the boat,
Ooh. Feels good and familiar. And Cypress will go down. Thank you, Laertes.
All right.
See what the difference that makes.
You go down, and you can see all the other members of the crew gathering up at the oars, pushing them out from their moorings as they start to bind the mast up on top and prepare to row as they get closer to the shore. You're probably about a mile off the shore at this point, as the rains are starting to spray across the seas around you. You can see them if you're on the deck of the ship. You can actually watch as you can see this line of a squall start to flash towards you. Is this like curtain of water just washes over the ship as the ship now is riding into the storm, the waves starting to rise and fall, and you guys prepare to buckle down into this awaiting storm, hoping to make it to land and find some semblance of shelter before you are lost at sea. Cypress, what are you gonna say?
Just for flavor, as soon as Cypress gets down into the rowing room, he shouts out, "Make room, double up if you need to," and he's going to almost like push people from one side of the boat to the other side and like take their oars.
All right. Well, as we prepare to do this next and first group skill check, we are going to go to break. As as listening to the water now made me really need to go to the bathroom. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
let the pee flow through you.
Ah! Beep boop beep boop boop boop.
Sorry, Bobby.
The Misto almost did already.
Yeah, okay, I was really excited about that thunderclap because I was like, oh, this is great because it's just like holding a sharp object directed at you, and then you hear
While experiencing turbulence.
wild turbulence,
And then the thunderclap.
I was
then
gonna
the
say, like-
close lightning thing, just like that instant like shock. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say, are we gonna have like an Isker moment again, where she gets struck by lightning?
Hey, we're a couple episodes in. It's about time, right?
It is around that time.
Right?
For whenever she joined the first time.
About
I
that
forgot you
time,
got
right?
struck by lightning.
In a thunderstorm.
I did get
Same
struck
way.
by lightning.
And there's a
Oh,
sword.
no.
Where
He got
was
struck by
Renan?
lightning while trying to use a
He wasn't in
Yeah.
exist yet.
powerful.
Oh,
Yeah, that was before. This was pre Renan falling from the
I
sky.
was gonna say I did talk to Renan last night, so if he's scheming,
That is pretty funny though. Like now that I think about it, you weren't trying to power an ancient artifact, but you were trying to do a thing, and you had a
Yeah.
sword. You didn't have a kite, but there
On
was
a
a
thunderstorm.
but there
nobody
was
told
like-
me this
bow
was a
of
pattern.
sorts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just thought about that. Wow.
Yeah, Soul picked me up all torched and like Aliquin wrapped me in a blanket, and it was, it was
That's
very
right. That's right.
Well, I do have a shawl that's briefly served as a death shroud, so I'll just
Oh
Tuck you up
no. That's okay. We won't need it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
if this is loosely inspired, at least the modern version of this game is inspired a little like Assassin's Creed. They do have their own Shroud of Turin mechanic.
We're all about to destabilize.
Oh no.
Desynchronize.
Yep.
I think both apply here.
Okay. As the storm is starting to come come through, storm. As the storm is starting to really pick up, and the first initial bands of this large storm are passing over you, I need each one of you to tell me what you are doing to aid the ship as it's being buffeted back and forth. We have already Cypress, who is down below rowing. Give me a strength check.
With advantage?
Yes. That's what it just density does.
One's pretty good. Way better than the second one. That's a 19.
19. Okay. As the rowers
I hope I
are,
don't
like,
just send this ship into
in a circle.
That's why I had to
You're
move
so
people
strong.
over.
You're so strong. Put him on the other side, and we'll need it to balance him out. All right. You're bringing the ship closer and closer to land, at doing the most as you can down below the waves, listening to the directions of, we'll say Nikos, as he is trying to like coordinate with Astrid up on deck, going left or right, which way you need to go. I'm going to say it is through the rain, and it's not like it's nighttime. This was just we're looking at like afternoon right now, so there's still light out, but it's just with the obscuring from the rain, obscurement from the rain, and the heavy dark clouds that has definitely made things difficult to see too far ahead. But you hear Oriotis shout that there looks like there are rocks coming up ahead. He sees the breaking of water, Astrid, earlier than it should be. So there is something in the waters up ahead that is breaking or causing the water to be disturbed, but is unsure what it is. Astrid, what are you going to do?
I'll tell them to try and move around it. Like,
Okay.
wouldn't that be? Yeah.
Yep. Give me a dexterity check for me.
Okay. A dexterity
Yeah.
for the boat.
Yeah, as you're like using all of your ability to turn the ship away from the rocks that are coming up.
This is being real slow.
That's okay.
No. No. Okay. It was edging on a 1, and then it switched over. And like, okay, it's 15 plus 2, 17.
17.
Couldn't tell if you were talking to the dice or the dog.
No, he's been
All right.
asleep. Basically.
You feel the ship start to bank very strongly as you go around what could be a very disastrous breaking point into the ship. All right.
I know what I would like to do.
What would you like to do, Phoebe?
So, since I'm over by the ropes and everything, I want to help keep the sail in whatever way it needs to be. I don't know if you put it back up during a storm or what,
I think so, yeah.
but the crew knows. So, I'm going to help with like knots and hopefully getting to come at it from a dexterous angle instead of a strength angle with like checking knots and things and keeping the ropes like together.
Okay. What role would you like to use for this?
Can you do sleight of hand since it's like knot tying and stuff?
Go for it. Give me a sleight of hand roll. It's your tight
That was
one.
almost a 1 again, but it's a 7. 13.
13.
We're just going to put you up.
All right. Leaving now Laertes and Themisto. How would you like to aid the ship as it's getting closer to the shore?
I'll let Themisto go first.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a priestess, not a sailor. So, I am gonna do what I do best and pray to the gods. So, yes, walking, it's with a hand on railing from person to person on the deck of the ship. I'm going to say just a little blessing above each of these people who is helping to keep things steady for us here on the waves. So coming up and asking Apollo to guide Phoebe's hands, asking Apollo again for courage for Astrid, and then beseeching Gaia for the strength of the earth for Cyprus, because I can cast Bless on 3 targets, and those are my 3 targets.
Beautiful.
Do you need to see me?
Nice.
Within range.
Well, there we go.
All right. Roll a either religion or arcana check for me.
Aha. All right. $15.
All right. So, how does your bless look when you cast it? Is your you're saying these words? How would you imagine it to look?
In the case of it's slightly different for each person, right? Because I'm asking for different things. So when I'm asking for dexterity for Phoebe, there's a very quick motion and a twist, basically, that I make with my hand, and then my snakes almost kind of follow along as I'm doing it. And I think in the rain and the tossing, you might not really see anything. Maybe just a little glint, a shimmer of gold. Um, but that's the hand motion that I do. And then for Astrid and for Courage, it's again using this blade, coming out and almost like dubbing her like a knight, you know, over both shoulders. And then again, just the faintest shimmer off of the blade, maybe, and you can't tell if it's like, is it the blade that is shining or is it Astrid, right? And then going down and asking for Gaia for the strength of the earth for Cypress. Themisto takes kind of like a strong, almost monkish stance, right, while asking for this. And then is gonna do like when wrestlers psych each other up and kind of like smack them on the back, essentially.
Good game, guys.
And so I like to imagine that there, across his shoulders for a moment, you see like a little ripple of like stone that then fades, like cracks and vanishes.
Nice. For each of these, as that golden light affects each one differently, and like you said, you can't tell if it's just where this refraction of light is coming from, whether it's from the lightning that's arcing across the sky or something else. Those three of you who have just received the blessing, if your eyes briefly tear away from the task at hand and you look at Themisto, there is an aura that shimmers above her head. And just like she described the not unsuredness, but the unique way that each bless gets cast, you almost feel like there is this shining aura that goes over her head. And it's mixed in with the rain, and it's not very bright, but it's just barely visible as you cast these. Laertes, what are you doing to add to this? As the ship starts rocking deeper and the waves become more violent, you're about half a mile now from the shore.
I would say that the bulk of what I could do was in preparation, was in trying to give Cypress that extra edge, was in trying to give Astrid that extra momentary insight to overcome the odds. What he's trying to do now is mostly, I guess, proactively reactive, where he is looking for little micro cracks in the ship, reminded of the woman's boat that was cracked and battered, and just trying to mend and fuse whatever he can find back together so that the ship remains whole.
Okay.
Like almost as if he, before going into the storm, he had copied this internal map of the trillions of atoms and their bonds, and what it should look like and what it should remain as, so that when he sees anything going wrong, it's just reapplying what he thinks the schematic ought to be.
Nice.
But his backup plan, should anything truly catastrophic happens, is, and I will treat this as a held spell and burn it off on my list at the moment, is should something go terribly, horrifically wrong, he is going to hold immovable object and prepare to cast that on the mast, in the idea of trying to affix the ship in one moment in space and time and hope that the waves just pass by around it, in the hopes that when it is gone, only we will remain. Because I was rereading Dune again.
Beautiful. Best mantra of all time. I literally have it on my phone.
And yeah, I'll go check that spell off just to make sure.
Make a either perception or investigation check for me as you're watching the ship carefully for these fracture or stress points.
I guess I'll go in investigation since it's something I'm kind of actively seeking.
Sure.
That is a 24.
Okay. 24. All right. Taking the totals here. As the ship is diving closer and closer to the shore, you feel it lurch beneath you, and you can hear the wood creak and groan as it shifts away from what appears to be these jagged reef-like rocks that are breaking the waterline, just as Oriota had warned you about, Astrid, and you pull it away. The mass starts to shift and move enough to where it looks like the wind is going to tear the sails off from their bindings, but through the quick work of Phoebe and the other crewmates there on the deck, they're able to bind the ropes tight and wrap them around the different little hooks and things near the mast so that it keeps it taut and from flying away with the heavy wind currently. Cypress, as you are rowing and rowing, you feel like the water that is getting splashed in through the ports where the oars stick out. You feel your grip starting to slide a little bit, but with the Misto's blessing to keep you firmly in place, with Laertes' spell to increase your density, you can almost feel the wood beneath your bench creak with a sudden shift as you seem to pull when you pull this one particular tight this one struggling row of an oar. I don't know what the proper term there is, but you almost feel the wood give out, not only on the oar itself in your hands, but from you pressing against the seat in that way that your body almost breaks the wood that you are both bracing against and helping to pull. And in
Cypress
doing,
gonna turn the ship on his own.
How,
go ahead. What were you gonna say?
how long does this benefit that Laertes gave him last?
Until I stop allowing it to.
Just permanent duration? Oh my
It
goodness.
is concentration, but it is a forever concentration if I wanted to.
Well,
Nice.
dang. Then I will not do what I was thinking.
And Laertes, in that moment where you're making this turn away from the sharp rocks, you can hear the oars start to crackle and give as the momentum of the ship is starting to cause it to buckle from the sheer weight of against the wind facing against the water and the weight of the ship itself and the momentum that it was carrying, and reaching out your hands to either one hand grabbing onto the rail and the other hand reaching out to the opposite side. You start to kind of mend these little micro fractures that are starting to tempt the ship into breaking apart just from the stress. All combining together this one moment into a successful navigation through this obstacle and closer into the shoreline. As you are getting close enough, Astrid, you have, I will say, two choices here. You can either you see through the rain a little bit of an small that's not a harbor, it's like a little alcove where you can kind of go bring the ship into. Do you try and use your anchor to hold your ship into place, or you can try and slow the ship enough, but not quite beach it, but it looks like a sandy beach where you can bring the ship directly onto the landmass and just not crash land it, but you know what I mean, like just bring it in to where it like digs itself into the sand, or you're gonna try to use the anchor to just hold yourself there in the lagoon?
I'll use the anchor to hold us in the lagoon. I think that'll be a little better for now. Yeah.
I mean, either way, because these ships are designed to where they can like beach themselves a little bit. Yeah, it's not gonna hurt your ship that much. It might be it would be tricky to get it out. It will require more work to like get it back out again. But there are pros and cons to both these things, because using the anchor kind of leaves you more to the elements and less of a stable like beaching up onto the side. But you can go do either direction, just kind of getting a feel for what you want.
If it's able to beach safely, then we'll do that instead.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So communicating with Nikos, he communicates to the crew below. They start pulling faster to try and gain momentum and speed, but then at the last moment bring in the oars and kind of like slow, like trying to get, basically you're like doing the dive in baseball when they're like diving for a base, like this, that jumping forward to kind of get as much momentum as possible while also softening the blow by like at the last minute bracing against the water to kind of slow it and gently shove the ship onto the
Cypress stands
shore.
at that moment. It's just-
Put your hands in the air.
no, but like bracing with his legs.
Yeah. No, I get you.
To catch the wave instead of rowing into it.
As you are doing this, you are going to make Astrid, make a strength roll and then add +5 for your ship.
Astrid?
Yes. As he is the captain.
You also have a point of luck if you need it.
How much was the luck?
It's just a
As in it's-
reroll.
How does that work?
Yeah,
Oh, it's just a
it's just a
reroll.
reroll.
Okay. It's going real slow.
Oh yeah, no, it keeps having those moments recently. Where the die is sort of just like slowly, frame by frame across the screen.
Yeah, is it happening to you too? What kind of roll?
Strength. Just a straight strength
Okay, so
check
then
plus
that's-
5 for the long ship.
Alright. 23.
23. All right.
Nice.
At the very last moment, you all hear Astrid shout, "Brace!" as everybody grabs onto anything and everything that is close to them. And you hear the sound of wood creaking as it crunches against gravel and sand. And the ship kind of rocks and shudders, and you are kind of lurched forward as you come to a sudden stop, the rain pelting down around you. But the ship is currently not moving and somewhat sheltered from the wind and storm that is currently raging overhead. You have survived the bad weather that Sonder initiated. No, but you did good because... Oh, well, you did good.
We didn't need to make like dex checks or anything as we
Nah,
beached.
that's fine.
Okay. I'll save that thing for later then.
Yeah.
Since Laertes is lashed to the mast, and we just had this collision, do I get bisected or?
No, you just Shatnered, where you just like,
Shit, everyone's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
My
Amazing.
not so inner Trekkie giggles at this.
My outer drinking.
All right. After about another 30 minutes or so, the rains start to cease as the clouds remain above and the thunder occasionally still rolls in the distance. But you find yourselves in this little private lagoon, now able to see up this hillside where you see that there was a timber line that has currently been flattened. What do you do?
The
Maybe
timberline's been flattened?
So there's like basically two cliffs on either side, right, of this small little lagoon area. But this back section of the lagoon kind of is a really steep hill, and you can see that there would be a tree line up ahead, or at the top. But it is all the trees have been flattened.
Which way are they flattened?
Inland.
Towards us or inland?
I'd like to go see what's up.
Not cut down, but like
like
flat.
like flattened, yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Cypress will go grab his armor and start suiting up again and get off the boat.
Nikos comes up to you, Astrid. It's like, you have done the family very well.
I felt like I could have made some better decisions then.
Yeah,
We survived.
these storms come from nowhere sometimes. It is hard to anticipate, but I had a feeling something was going to be amiss. Nobody was injured or no casualties, so I would say that that was a victory.
You're right. You're right.
I'm going to check in with the crew below.
Okay.
And you then get ready to push off whenever you deem you are set.
I think we want to take a look at what is happening there. That is odd.
Looks like part of the storm. Be careful. Alright.
I guess Laertes will try and disentangle himself from the rope that probably saved him from getting flung overboard, but now he's kind of just not having a good time in. But like, is the ship
I'll come help you
sideways?
with the rope.
Is the ship sideways or upright?
Upright. It's just
Okay.
like beached up onto the
Okay, yeah, so okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
It
So he
had like
probably
a
has.
horrible angle.
Oh yeah, no, I figured he was basically just sort of like dangling off of it as it was the ship was just Tokyo
Yeah.
drifting through the Aegean. But yeah, so yeah, with a bit of help, he'll get unentangled and just. Well, I didn't die. Everything's looking up.
I count that as a win for
Yes.
us.
We'll slap
you.
Laertes on the back. See, I
You
told
guys.
you we could get you through this storm. Got the best captain on the Aegean Sea.
The Misto, how are your hands? I'll be alright. Thank you. Do you notice she kind of clutches her left hand a little bit? She did hurt herself on that blade.
Astrid is going to kneel down beside her. Had you not done that, we may have been worse for wear. She's going to grasp your hands and cast Cure Wounds, which will be when this loads. Some
Try
help.
as a suggestion. Go to your. Are you using Chrome?
Yeah.
Go to your settings and see if it says hardware acceleration enabled. That makes all the difference for me. If it's enabled, it goes fast. If it's disabled, it goes slow. But Themisto, as the spell goes off, there's this shimmer to Astrid's skin, just slightly, just below the skin surface, as it's almost like looking at light reflecting from dewdrops or stars in the sky. It shimmers across her arm and across the back of her hand and across her fingertips as it feels comforting, refreshingly cool, minty fresh spell.
Your
And-
hands feel minty.
Juniper,
There you go.
juniper tree.
Themisto looks at Astrid while she's casting this, and Themisto has an expression where she's like almost maybe proud. It's a little hard to read.
I'd vote you as Pythia any day. So stand back up and join back with the others.
How much? I mean, I don't think you really took that much damage. It's probably like a point or two of slashing, but it's
Yeah, so I'm back to full.
okay. The five of you disembark.
Yes.
In the process, just continuing what he was doing when we were facing the storm, is he's just going to try and refix what may have been broken in the latest crash, and then presuming how much of the ship is actually physically aground, he'll kind of basically just run his hands along the side of the hull to just maybe find what he can't actually see and just sort of fix what might be a problem later.
Okay. Yeah, easily enough. As you guys walk up the sands. Oh, that is a running sound. I was like, sand steps. Okay, I have that. Oh, it's running across the sand, apparently. Gotta fix the ship.
It sounded like someone knocking on like corrugated metal.
Oh, yeah, I kind of did.
I would like to be stealthy as we make our way up the hill.
Sure.
And
Okay.
we can do that without losing time, because that's something Astrid has. Because rangers and stuff.
Ooh,
They're on the
nice.
coast. Yeah.
Nice. So, as the clouds are still giving a dark gray skies, but the storm has passed, and you can still hear the occasional rumble of thunder. You make your way up the recently drenched hillside, as everything has that like shine to it from the recent rains. There is a deliciously earthy and green smell that fills your nose, as that smell of having it just
That's
rained
cool.
in a forest where it's not just the earth but all of the plants and the green and the smell of the sea all combined together to just really invigorate you. And it's almost like after a thunderstorm, you know how everything feels more alive with that lightning charge. There's that kind of as you walk up. But as you're walking up the side of the hill, with the aid of Astrid, clambering over the beginnings of these fallen trees, navigating these rocky gullies that have been washed away as the water had like run down the side of the hill and into the ocean. As beautiful as the scent is, there is also the smell of, or the feel of destruction and the power of nature having blown over these massive trees. And as you clamber to the top and start walking amongst the fallen tree, it's almost as if the wind had been so strong as to just like wipe an arm across the hillside, knocking down everything across this path. And it wasn't like these trees were massive by any means, but it had definitely flattened what trees stood here, where everything is broken.
Like a Godsmack. Just
But possibly. It boggles the imagination how strong the wind must have been in order to create this sort of flattening. And at the top of the hill, you can see into the landscape around this island. The distant storm now gaining distance into the east as it makes landfall. The lightning strikes that kind of pepper the horizon. Just on the other side of this lagoon, a small town once stood.
Like a long time ago, or like it just got flattened?
ooh.
These ruins don't look ancient. This town or seaside village, about like 3/4 to a full mile to the east of you, just on the other side of the lagoon where you had taken shelter. You can see there is a river that runs from the mountains of the island and goes into the sea. And there is like basically like a floodwaters that are going through that have cleared away parts of this village and have crumbled, or something has crumbled the rest. This village probably existed a few days ago.
We think there are any survivors over there.
I was just going to say, I think we should check.
And if not, then there are going to be people who need to have donations for Sharon.
Well, this isn't where we were hoping to be, but
I think
I
it
guess
might
we can
be where we
consider
need
it
to
a
be.
step on the way.
Okay. You guys go towards the village.
Yeah, the Mister will follow the others.
Okay. Going over to the village, the journey back down the other side of this hill is one that fills your hearts with a mounting worry. This small village doesn't look too much smaller than Edemos, where you had just been the night before. But the closer you get, the more you don't see any movement. You see crumbled walls, collapsed ceilings. You can hear the gentle roar of the rushing river that passes through this section and out into the sea. You can see now the beach and area that is closest to where the river is rushing out in that flash flood water gray beige color of it having pulled mud and debris in from the hills. And how even in this small area around where this river runs into the ocean that is littered with wood, trees, baskets, and debris from the village.
Bodies?
Nothing you've seen yet.
It's almost a more worrying sign. If this village was destroyed less than a week ago, there should be people here, alive or dead.
Perhaps something warned them and they were able to find a way to safety.
To sea or further inland.
I do not know.
As we approach, can I try to have Astrid check for like footprints or signs of recent life?
Sure. Make a survival check.
Okay. Wow.
I love that sound.
Darn.
Let's
Luck?
technically that's a 9.
Technically.
Yeah, 9.
Okay. As you get close, you don't see any footprints here, as they probably have been washed away by the heavy rains.
Right, yeah. Well, like the outer parts of the watery part.
What were you gonna say, Laertes?
Is there any indication as we get closer, maybe what kind of people these were, like human or I don't know what I would really look for, something like that, but
Just like
anything-
anthropological artifacts,
even
little
even
bits
like-
of culture that would.
Yeah, like dolls or figures
guns.
like on statues.
size
and-
of the buildings that might indicate, like medium build creatures or,
Right.
dwarf, hobbit size
No.
or
Art of any kind?
Yeah.
a lot of slash fiction.
As you approach the edges of the village, you can see this was probably a human settlement. It does have a lot of the features that you would find in most Greek or Hellenistic societies right now. You can see that there are soaked lines that have like fallen with clothes, blankets, and linens that are plastered to the ground amongst the rubble. And once you actually get close to the village, you do see that there's no bodies. But the devastation is complete. Almost every building there's probably about 24 small homes and maybe a couple of larger ones spread throughout this village. And you can hear that rushing sound of the flood waters running through the center of it. It's strange that there is actually no signs of life, though the village itself looks lived in. There's still so many elements of belongings to people, but there is a lack of people. And then you start to notice amongst the village odd blackened rocks jutting from the ground. As if the earth had erupted into these jagged formations in different places. Some of it spearing through a wall and causing its collapse inwards from the ground. Some of it breaking up through the center of a building where the roof is like partially collapsed outwards, like as if some large stalagmite had just jutted from the ground of this black. It's not obsidian. It's just this like, black rock that just kind of seems to have apparated somewhere. Laertes, what were you gonna say?
Are they all irregularly shaped, or is this sort of like that volcanic hexagonal pillory
No,
kind of shape?
it's like jagged fingers of stone that just jutted from these random places as if they had burst from the ground of their own will.
It's not obsidian.
Not obsidian.
So this seems like an attack of some kind. At least not a natural occurrence.
I have never seen a thing like this.
And what happened to the tree line is not. That couldn't have been natural.
And you know that from your journey down to this village, this flattening of tree line extended for probably 1 mile to 2 miles in all directions. It's as if the storm had just fallen here.
Dumped. Yeah. Wow.
Maybe they angered the gods.
Yes, but the gods of the wind sent Poseidon and Gaia all at once. I don't believe it.
Do we take some of this stone with us? Maybe it
Before
can
we-
explain.
Before we try and chip away at it and take any of it with us, I would like to examine it here and make sure that we can safely take it with us.
Of course.
Identify what it is.
And with that, I want to run through the procedures of detect magic and identify if applicable.
Okay.
So it's again the process of just clearing my mind and trying to see not just its structure, but its function as I examine the atomic structure, the bonds, all the things that make it up and how they work and why they work. As I kind of explode it out in front of myself like a holographic schematic of what I'm looking at, rather than directly interfacing with what is there. So I don't disturb it if it is a problem.
Okay. I'm going to say, with detect magic, there's a fading aura of unnaturalness to this stone. Along the lines of, I guess, what you would call a school of transmutation. This rock does not belong here, as it doesn't seem to have a natural makeup to it.
And that's what I get from, I guess, I flow into identify, correct? Or is that...
Yeah, basically.
Okay. It's...
So I would say a mixture of transmutation and conjuration.
The evidence certainly backs up your claim that it is unnatural that this was done on purpose. I'm not sure how they would have done it, but I'm not getting a sense that taking a piece with us would cause more harm than has already been done.
I agree.
I'm also not sure what it's going to tell us beyond what we already know about it. I can get a
Maybe-
sense.
Maybe someone like Hecate can recognize what it is or who might have done it.
Possibly.
This is a wise thing to say. I agree.
I'm just so confused by the lack of bodies. Because I could come up with a few images in my head of different gods being angry at this town and potentially killing people here, but there would be a sign of it. And if Poseidon flooded the town and pulled all the bodies into the ocean, then there'd be more gone.
Oh, Laertes just has a very, very awful thought. When he looks at where all of the rocks are, does it make sense that they are where people may have been standing? Is this a pillar of salt situation?
Make a
Oh shit.
intelligence check.
This is the wrong pantheon.
Mm. And everyone take a drink.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Speaking
making.
of salt.
Sorry, I lost track. Which one am I making? It's just intelligence.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what you would use to deduce something like this. So either intelligence or wisdom based at some point. You can see either one.
Okay, it's just one of the flat stats, none of the skills that I'm using.
Maybe Arcana?
Because this is more of like a deduction of where people would.
Investigation.
Yeah, so
Okay.
maybe an investigation would be fine.
Okay,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that is a nat 20 for a 27.
Yeah, Laertes. Haha.
MVP.
Your heart shudders at the formulation of these thoughts. You take a glance at one of the stoneworks that had crumbled into a wall, partially collapsing it. And the longer you look at the fingers that are thrown into the wall's shape, two of the fingers look longer than the center one, as if two arms had been flung back and broken into the wall. You look at where a group of stonework juts up from the ground of differing heights. You've never seen anything like this before. And then your mind goes to the equations of transmutation, turning one thing into another. The conjuration of what it could be, what it could mean to conjure something from nothing and then turn that something into stone, to where it has no semblance of what it could have been before. But you remember the spell work telling you that this was not a natural occurring stone. And as you're looking around at the multiple occurrences of this stone scattered throughout the village, it sends a shudder through your spine.
Step back away from the stone that was starting to examine. And if anyone had a tool up to start chipping away at it, I just try and just slowly lower their hand. And surmising or summarizing all of that, I just wordlessly create a small holographic projection of what was just narrated so that the others can wordlessly see what my mind has wandered onto. Almost as if I want someone else to say it, like I need to peer review my own thoughts.
Watching this, Themisto is going to start to cry. Um, these, these poor people, there are no ice left for coins to be placed. What will they do in the afterlife? What a horrible thing to happen.
Are they in the stone? Or like maybe they might still be dead, but maybe they're just inside there. Maybe we could cut them out and I don't know.
What we face is true evil.
You hear a clattering of rock. Something has disturbed something within the ruins. You can hear stone falling on stone. And the sound of voices speaking amongst each other, not quietly.
Everyone go out.
Those of you who are good at hiding should do so. Can we tell where the voices are coming from?
Coming towards you from the opposite side of the village you haven't been on yet.
Yes, definitely not the crew.
Definitely not the crew.
Can we pick up on what they're saying?
You guys are gonna try and hide?
Yeah.
Make stealth
I
checks
will
for
not.
me. Okay.
You won't?
I'm wearing full armor.
A natural 20.
Okay.
With the natural 20 for a 25, can I try to pull Cypress in with me in my hiding spot?
Sure.
Maybe help him with his hiding.
If he allows himself to be pulled away, then yeah, I'll give him advantage on that.
I'll
Or
offer only brief verbal resistance of maybe you will all hide better if I'm
Cypress,
easily
come.
found.
Cypress, no, come.
All right. And he will go with you.
Make a
Clank,
straight-
clank, clank, clank.
Make a straight roll.
A high throw.
Uh,
Natural 20.
Hey, we'll say that as Phoebe kind of wraps her arms around you to kind of pull you in, as you start to like object, she kind of like puts a hand up to your mouth to kind of like silence you, but also grabs you in such a way that the armor doesn't clank as she pulls you back into a recessed doorway that has the roof caved in. So there's only like a little bit of shadow that they can hide into. Sandra, what were you gonna say?
I also got an at 20 for a 24.
Beautiful.
I
Beautiful.
wanted to see, seeing that Laertes is not hiding very well, can I try to do that same thing? Pull him in and try to like,
So
or
I already
correct his hiding.
rolled.
Yeah, he already rolled.
Oh,
And what I'll say for that is because I got a 4 for -2, which becomes 2, that I think he's just too haunted and transfixed by his realizations, and he kind of just barely even moves, and he kind of just sits in the sand.
Nice. Themisto, what are you doing?
Themisto has a Hellenic scale mail. So she also rolls at disadvantage with stealth. And got a 12. So
We'll say
I would
ahead.
say that she does attempt to make herself a little less scarce.
right.
But she's soggy and also was clearly affected by Laertes' realization, so her attempts are somewhat stymied.
That's fine. So as the three of you disappear into the shadows of doorways, Themisto, you kind of move a little towards like a wall, but you still see Laertes just staring at this grouping of stone. And from around the corner,
Yes.
a group of individuals appear. Two Leonin lead hoplites behind them, long spears poking at some of the ruins. You can hear the two lead male Leonin, as they like go over there, check that doorway, see if there's anything of value. And finally, one of them turns to see the two of you there. Oh, survivors after all. It looks at Laertes and then looks over at Themisto. Themisto, do you have your hood up or are you uncovered?
I figured we were here by ourselves. My hood is down.
I would say that Laertes he's almost cataplectic where he's not really paying attention. He's going through all of that in his mind. And the worst part for him is that he understands just enough of the science involved that it's horrifying. And he's just kind of standing there. He's not even really registering that the others have hid. He's not really registering that Themisto is right there with him. And he's not registering that others have shown up.
Driscos, take a look at this. It's a Gorgon in the flesh. The other Leonin turns, and you can see them. They kind of view you with curiosity and a little bit of like, that kind of, I don't know if that translates pretty well. Just like,
How many are there total? You said 2 Leonin, and how many
There's-
hoplites?
There's 2 Leonin, and currently you see 3 other hoplites.
The Mystic's gonna take an uneasy step back towards the wall a little bit.
So, is any of this belong to you? You villagers here?
No, we arrived seeking shelter from the storm.
Good. More for us then. You can see the one named Doriscos just kind of chuckles, looks over at this chest of stuff, picks it up, and like opens it, starts rifling through belongings that are in there, and starts throwing stuff out over to the side, finds something that looks relatively shiny and puts it into his pouch. And they kind of just start to ignore you a little bit. But the one who initially looked at you is just kind of keeping his eye on you while the other men kind of like look in your direction, but don't engage.
This was not a village of your kin.
No. Whatever happened here brought them to Hades, apparently. More things for us to take, more things for us to sell, more money for us. Don't worry, we'll let you keep what you've got. Probably use it anyway. These are definitely looters.
Have you seen anything like this before?
Seen what? A ruined village? Nah. But fortune smiles on us. Themisto, make a perception check.
Misto has really good perception. Unnatural 20.
Nice. Something's curious about these people. They move about as if in a trance. They're still doing what they came here to do, but you've seen blind, when someone who's blind stares off away from maybe whoever they're talking to or whatever is in front of them, right? Like there's just that disconnect of where the eyes go. They seem to be staring blankly, or that 1,000-yard stare when someone has a 1,000-yard stare and they kind of stare through a wall or stare down at the floor. They kind of occasionally seem to be doing that whenever they're going through these things. And you see them moving together, and the air between them is shimmering. It looks as if something almost humanoid floats in the air above and between all of them, larger than any of them. It just turns its head and looks at you.
Laertes, I think we need to go. Laertes.
As she's calling his name, he does start to kind of snap out of it a bit, and he takes notice, not of the odd effect around them, but just the fact that there are other people here.
Okay.
Themisto is visibly concerned. You see her snakes are kind of up in like a they feel threatened position.
As I don't think I've actually seen her like that since I think the first moment I saw her. Would that be enough for me to look at them with a little more scrutiny?
Sure. Make a perception check as well. We're gonna say I don't remember who raised their fingers first.
Dreamy
Go for it, Dreamy.
Okay, so this is what I want to do. I would like to turn to Cypress and kind of shush him as I draw on all the little bits of sunlight that might be breaking through the clouds post-storm and kind of like pull that warmth and energy into me. And I want to use my Celestial Revelation.
Oh shit.
And I want to get the full wings made out of sunlight, which gives me a flying speed.
Ooh.
And I want to like float up as I come out of my hiding place. And I want to look at this group and say, how dare you disturb the resting place of these people that were so taken by the gods?
Okay. What were you gonna say, Cypress?
Too slow to happen before Phoebe's action, and then he gets caught up in the majesty of what is transpiring in front of him. But then he focuses back, and his eyes will flash gold as he will divine sense this scene.
Beautiful. Sonder. Astrid, what are you gonna say?
I wanted to see if Astrid could get to a higher point, like to try to climb or move her way above what is happening.
From where you're at, make a stealth roll. Well, you know what? Here's yes. You're able to do this. You're able to climb up one of the walls that's kind of collapsed a little bit to get up to a point where you can see everything that happens simultaneously. The thing that Themisto had seen floating between these individuals turns its attention to her as Phoebe pops out. As the golden sparkles that just kind of emanate from nowhere fill you with warmth and sunlight, Phoebe, there is this bursting of almost like transparent fire that comes from your back that then forms from a burst of a fire burst, almost like a solar flare that erupts from your back, but then that solar flare becomes feathers and wings that spread outwards. The creature that turned to you invisibly, Themisto, that you see, you kind of see that predator vision of it kind of just shifting the air around it slightly, and as it turned to you and Phoebe's light coming from her wings, make it visible. More so than before. You see now floating in their mists.
Is this just the Misto that sees it, or can I see it too now?
I would say you see it as it becomes visible.
Okay.
A humanoid figure, but skin that is blackened. You see an eyeless face with just mouth and nose. You see these two curving, large, bull-like horns that go right above the forehead, or like right above the eyebrow, and they kind of curve upwards and out, creating an almost, what is that? The Greek symbol for omega, I think it is. It's like a circle that kind of points outwards at the top. And these large leathery wings that don't flap, they just extend outwards. And
This is different than the thing from our test.
Correct.
The eyeless thing.
Correct. This is very different. And as it lets out a breath of cold air in the warm air around you, you can just see the exhalation just kind of go. And that is where we end for tonight.
Oh, Jesus.
Ah,
I would have
I
done
mean,
something,
who's
but never
that?
mind.
As you stand before the Eater of Hope.
Yep, I knew exactly what it was the moment you described it being familiar with MTG. Uh-oh.
All right. Well, this is going to be great. We're going to say Larities.
I had rolled a 17 before it was revealed, and there was a thing I was going to do, but never mind.
Okay. Well, we will start with that, whatever it is, next week. Are you sharing the image?
Yep.
I love the way that, like, Cypress using his divine sense and Astrid climbing, like, it made my mental camera of the scene move around so much that it was, like, really, really cool.
Yeah. No, that's why I was like, I was gonna make you roll to see if you could climb quietly, but I was like, fuck yeah, I want you to be able to see all of this like event that happens like simultaneously, and I couldn't have planned it better myself. So thank you guys for playing tonight. You survived a lovely little rainstorm, and now
sprinkle.
begin
It's just the Eater of Hope.
Just a little sprinkle.
and just a little little sprinkle, and you know, the first taste of the darkness that awaits at the edges of the rainbow.
Jeez.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
What a phrase.
Listen, everyone's always like it's a pot of gold, but you know what's beyond the
feel
pot
like-
of gold.
I feel like Dio wrote an album with this exact line in it.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will see you next Tuesday for a delightful episode. I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
It's great. I'm
good.
excited.
Nothing bad's gonna happen.
Nah, I mean, it's fine. Just a little deforestation, just a little bit of salt turning. It's cool. We will see you next time. Same place, same channel. So be brave, stay fade. The safe word is mango and
Do science.
Mango.
Mango. Mango. Mango. Mango.